you pick this class? Blessings. Oh, blessings. Yeah, it's genealogy, and you need that? That's why you picked it?
Oh, heavens will open, that's what I need in my life.
Okay.
My ancestors.
All right,
And I've
perfect.
done all the names that I can find, but I wanna, I'll find the list of people that I can.
So your work's already done? All
Oh,
right.
no, not all of it.
Okay. Is anyone in here because of guilt?
Oh, me too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am.
When you finish this class, the certification which says that you'll have amnesty and you won't feel any more guilt. I can offer that for you. Your patriarch of blessing. That's why you're here, patriarch of
Yeah,
blessing.
it says, it's the most, I have all these kids, it says that's, and genealogy is the most important thing I can do on the earth, and I'm like, well, why did I have a family?
Those are your distractions.
Raise my kids.
And a big family.
All right, we're got a lot of work to do here. So, what I found in all these classes, we always have one or two people that will give us public confession and speak for the rest of us. Confession, and then we have to forsake. So today we're going to be talking about the heavens will open, discovery, gathering, and connecting through family history. Everybody has to have a PowerPoint, otherwise, I mean, how can I be an expert coming from a far city? And so today we're going to talk about, there's really a mission statement for Family Search. And the mission statement says that we help all people, all is capitalized, to discover, gather, and connect with their ancestors. That's really the purpose. And the other thing that I want to make sure that we don't forget while we're here, there's really a phrase that talks about family history correctly. It's called temple and family history. Sometimes we get the feeling that they're two separate things. In fact, I've seen people that are ordinance workers and they act like there's no family history, or I see family historians and act like there's no temple work. And so they're combined, and without that combination, the experience is never as strong and powerful as it should be. But that being the case, temple is always more important. So I have to put that out. So discovery is a good activity. We're going to talk about good, better, and best. So how do you discover your ancestors, about them? How do you get to know who they are? Who has their tree already finished? Aunt Lois already finished it.
I wish.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she had that one line that she didn't get to. So what happens is, we got pedigree charts. Some of us are old enough, we used to enter with a pencil in pedigree charts. And then, and in there, you can find a lot of things out about your family. If you go to the fan chart or any pedigree chart, you can go and find out where they're from and things like that. But what's really important is you can click on an individual. It'll come up, it'll give all the details that's recorded, and then it'll do the memories. A lot of times between those two pages is the why of family history and temple work, because they become real people. And so sometimes without this discovery experience, you'll never have the why. Then it always feels like a burden. It feels like without the why would you get a year's supply of wheat? And so as you go through all those things, it will start to say, oh, this is my motive. This is what really resonates with me. This is what blesses me and my family members. And so it's imperative that you go through and have that discovery experience. So back in 2002, there was a study done by Emory University. And then a couple years later, it was also done by Princeton. And I don't know why I always remember this, but a year after that, it was done by the University of Wyoming, which really makes it prestigious. And so, we got, Republicans and Democrats. I'm sorry. And so as you go through that, the study was what determines emotionally resilient children. And there's a big article about this by Bruce Fillier from the New York Times. But he discovered these things and kind of made it more public. What they found is if children know their family narrative, they're much more emotionally resilient. And there's usually 3 narratives. 2 of them are not very beneficial, and 1 is beneficial. One narrative is, we came to this country and we've had continuous success ever since. The second narrative, we came to this country. Have you guys seen the movie Holes? Holes?
Oh, yes.
Remember the pig stealing uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've come to this country, we've been cursed, and we've had nothing but bad times. Both those narratives are wrong and incorrect. One is, it builds this platform of, they have to be super successful. Everyone in our family is successful. That's just not healthy. Or that we're losers and there's no hope for us. But the narrative that is really important is we've had our ups and downs. And when children know that, it helps them to be mature. It helps them to see the good and the bad, the tragedies and the challenges, the successes and the losses. And that's maturing. It helps them to be resilient. The other thing is, a lot of times when we teach our children, other than the example they see from us and maybe really close relatives, we usually take them to the scriptures or church history. So what they're being compared against all the time is usually pretty good people, prophets and seers and these people. When you take them to family history, sometimes you can take them to a person that seems more approachable and more, natural. So if I take them to Harry Davis Huntsman, my great-grandfather, then to me, that's a lot more, I can understand his life better, and I can see the good things that he did and the challenges that he had. So, you can have some of those experiences as you discover. And the events they lived through, sometimes if you live through a certain period of time, Spanish influenza, World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, you start to understand some of those things. As you start to say, oh, here's some details, and they had 11 children and 6 only made it to adulthood, you might be able to start to understand some of the challenges in that family. Histories and journals are great. Certificates, documents, relationships, events they live through, like I said. So those are things you can discover and read about. And I think that's a great start. Yes?
And you can do that on Family Search, because they have an area where they tell you what happened during their life, during your ancestors' lifetime.
Yeah, they have a comparison of the historical events. Perfect. And then you can go and read all those things. And so sometimes even a death certificate can be a moving experience for you. I remember reading about, I was tracking down this family and through descendancy, but anyway, so we were like third cousins, 8 times removed, I don't know what it was. And then I got this guy, I thought, how come he never got married? And how come he didn't have any children? Because a lot of times when I have those thoughts, I'll find a wife and children, and I add to the tree. And so, but then I found his death certificate, and he never really was married, and he died by suicide. And so, emotional. It became real. And then it became a privilege to do his work. So everyone, as they do this discovery, can start to have these experiences so that you can start to have feelings that come from the Spirit of Elijah. The Spirit of Elijah is the Holy Ghost doing testifying of the eternal nature of family. And so you need to have those things. So discovery is a good activity. There's a lot of ways to do it. Get online, explore. If you can't, find a grandchild. No. You won't be able to follow what they do, but anyway. They'll get you there. So, gathering is a better activity, and not that discovery is bad, but gathering is a better activity. Sometimes we do things like attach sources, and then you start to think, oh, let's get into genealogy. We find sources, we're looking for people to connect, but we're doing Ordinance Ready. You guys know what Ordinance Ready is, right? You can go to Family Search, pull up your own name, and sign in. Go to Ordinance Ready, and ordinance will come by priority. 1, if you have them in already reserved, stuff that you've done. 2 is if your family has. 3, if your ward and stake do. And then after that, it goes church-wide. You can find pictures, record stories. We have a recording booth down at Family Search in Las Vegas, but as you go there, yesterday we had, people are even older than I am, and their daughter came in with some grandkids, and they did some videos. They recorded about 9 videos with questions and some things like that and had some great experience. The thing that's nice about that, you can share them so easy because it'll come to your phone, then you can share and do those things and record them. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Also, I really haven't mentioned this before, but at Family Search in Vegas, you can take old media sources and digitize them. So if you had like slides, remember the slides on the carousel?
Yes.
Have you had to sit through one of somebody's vacation? But anyway, all those slides can be digitized. You can do 8mm, Handycam, VHS, reel-to-reel audio. Does anyone remember reel-to-reel?
I still have it.
You still do? Oh.
I have them at my house.
We can digitize all those. And then you can throw them away. Oh, sorry. Then you won't have to take, obviously you're the child that everyone said, we're gonna make you keep everything and they're having a big problem. All right,
Brother Wade, I have a quick question.
please.
So I'm the keeper of all the old photos, and I'm digitizing all of them.
Hope you're not paying for it.
No, I'm not. I got a great app
Scanner.
for my phone.
Okay, perfect.
But do I keep the photos? I can't throw them away.
I know, that's
I can't.
the hardest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're digitized, but
Your kids will
You know,
throw them away.
can I tell you something about the gospel of Jesus Christ?
yeah.
You have agency.
No,
And
because
so you're gonna let the fear of some relative saying, I wish I had them old photos. No, I don't. It's totally up to you. But yeah, a lot of people still have that challenge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the thing we do have, if you have some old photos, your phone works great, that's perfect, but also we can do it through scanners, and then, sometimes people will have, they'll have those picture books or whatever, and they've glued them in there really hard to, but we have a scanner that'll scan them and individualize them. So it's nice. And then we can do the backs, but our phone does well.
This app, it's called PhotoMine, and it's amazing.
M-I-N-E?
M-Y-N-E.
M-Y-N-E.
Yeah, so those are all good things. More than happy to help you do that. It's because a lot of times, there's some treasures there that really make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, every once in a while, there's somebody that took like 200 of these 8mm films back in the 60s. Those are priceless. And we can digitize them for you. Okay, so gathering is really important, and then recording your own stories. A lot of times we think, well, what do I have to contribute? A lot of times you'll have somebody, maybe even a great-grandparent that you knew, or a grandparent. I was gonna say you went deer hunting with them, but maybe, I don't know. But anyway, you had an experience with them, and a lot of times, there's a real easy way on Family Search to go ahead and put in the title, you type the story out, and put by who, and then you can add photos and things like that. That really adds, because before you know it, it's gonna be generations, and they'll have insight, so.
But
If
you
you
can
can-
go on the memories app too, right?
Right, that's what I said,
You
yeah.
can just record yourself.
You can record you
Yeah.
can do your phone, and we do the video, and then you can type your own.
Can you do that on a relative that's actually alive still?
Sure,
Okay, because it seems.
no one will
like-
see him, but yeah,
Okay, so you can do it, but it's just not public.
right, what happens is, the tree won't show anyone that's alive. Every once in a while, I'm sorry, I digress, every once in a while, like a grandchild will kill off their grandparent. I don't know how that, I didn't know I was dead, but anyway, that's right. But yeah, until they're dead, the whole world can't see them. But you can go ahead and populate that. Some of you know my mom, she lived out here early in Waite, but anyway, so she passed away a couple years ago. And then so she had she had a bunch of stuff on there already, her and my sister. And then once merged with her deceased person, then it became, everyone saw. But she had already done the work. Because she didn't think we would. All right.
That's illegal.
So, that gathering is a better activity, and a lot of times, there's some important things that you can do. Don't think, you gotta get off that straight grandparent, relationship. You gotta go back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 generations. And then you gotta find their siblings. And then you come back this direction. And you're gonna find tremendous things. I've added over 1,000 people that are my relatives through that process. And I'm not that smart. And so, as you go through that, you're gonna start to discover, and the Spirit will help you, and is as important as your direct line. Okay, connecting is the best activity. You feel the Spirit, and that's the whole purpose. If it's just a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that. But until you feel the Spirit, the best thing is to feel that connection that comes.
Sorry.
A lot of times it comes in research. A lot of times it comes also in the temple, and it comes best with the combination of the two. Learning of their lives and how it applies to you. I have found over the last few years that there's certain people that don't want to do family search because they feel they come from a dysfunctional family. They,
Welcome to the world.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but what happens is it's serious for them. They're concerned if the farther they go back, the more evidence they'll have that they're not good people. They don't come from good people.
Different times.
Yeah, and so what happens is, if they'll go back and do some of those things, they'll start to discover there's some good people. And they come from that mature line of both challenges. But they need that. They need to understand, as they start to think about themselves as a child of God, they need to understand that God's been in their lives.
Everybody has skeletons in their closet, I
Yeah.
don't care who they are.
That's true. Yeah.
They're people, and it's our part of responsibility to do their work for them.
Yeah.
You know, don't know, you know, they'll take it or not, or they're not worthy or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's our responsibility to do it.
Yeah, some of the challenges we have is with the farther back they are, we don't feel the connection. But if we'll work on it and feel the Spirit, we'll feel the connection. If any of you have had a sibling that has died not in full fellowship, you will understand the feelings of doing this work. And sometimes it's harder to go back 3 or 4 generations and have those same feelings, but it's the same thing. You're hoping with all your heart that in that spirit world, something will finally click, and they'll make the changes and come back to the fold. So, and you can share it with family members, and then you can go to the temple for ancestors and relatives. That is the best experience. There's nothing wrong with the temple, even if it's somebody for the very first time you see their name. But it's the best experience if you've had a part in that, you feel that relationship, and it really becomes powerful, because it'll bring you closer to Jesus Christ, because those feelings of family help us to understand the things that He's done for us. And sometimes it's just more powerful that way, and as you have to testify. And because Christ loved all of us, sometimes it's hard for us to love somebody we just first seen, not that it's impossible. But if we put the effort and time and gone and done these things, it can be very powerful. Questions? Yes?
No question, but I think some of the most spiritual experiences I've had in the temple is when I seal the whole family together at the one time.
Yeah.
Just seal them all together.
Yeah, that is powerful. Yep. So, as we talk about good, better, and best, good is to discover, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a great activity. Take some time, and then the Holy Ghost will tell you how to go forward. The other thing is learn how to gather, and that's what's really good. You can come, you have your own family history center. If you ever get to town, come by. But there's, in every ward, there's temple and family history consultants. Only employment specialists have been less used in the church than, I'm sorry. Anybody remember employment specialist? Anyway. Yeah, Maytag repairman never get called. But anyway, oh, hey,
I remember him.
she was the director of the employment. I had a hand in that, but anyway, that's another story. And so, as we go through that, those are some of the things that you can do. So, if you will go home this weekend and just open up the tree and start to read about some of those things, you will have a guilt-free weekend. You don't have to merge or attach a source or go into the records and do all those things. You're just going to go and start to discover, and it will make a huge difference. And then you'll know, the Holy Ghost will bear witness, and then you'll know, well, this is what I need to do. And don't compare yourself to others. And it may be that you're going to go and write a story about your great-grandparents or grandparents, or you're going to add a few pictures, or you're going to read about them and let the Spirit move you. And everyone's in a different place in their life. So, feel guilt-free yet, or you're still?
I just think, you know, between family history and quilting, when will I be able to cook and clean my house and,
Who do you cook for?
oh my husband.
Oh, well, you can talk to your bishop about it.
I have to tell you what I do to assuage my guilt. I do indexing.
Yeah.
Good, I'm good, so I'm good. I need that.
Well-
Yeah, so I can find these things.
Well-
I'll do them, you index them, I'll do them.
Yeah, and indexing is a good thing. You'll see pretty soon that AI will do more and more indexing. I'm not gonna hear talk about AI, but it's a great tool. And then what's gonna happen is, I think more and more, we're working on a couple of projects where we take records and we attach these sources and create people to the tree. We build a worldwide tree, which the brother really wants to do. And so they'll send you a list of sources that the computer says that they should match. And these will be census of all over the world, and then you start to add people. And so it's a really good thing. A lot of opportunities out there. So indexing is good too. Of course, it's hard to find a easy batch.
They probably changed it.
Yeah. Any of you guys been involved in the 1950 census when we did that? Nice. 150 million names, took 150,000 people plus AI from Ancestry, and it was done in about 6 months, a little less than that. It's been a great boon. A lot of people added to the tree, a lot of good information. So, all right, any other questions? All right, I have who's getting chicken salad and who's getting the salad?
Chicken salad.
Okay, I'm just kidding. All right, well, are we done? We got anything else?
I guess we're supposed to go into